In this video, I'm going to share with you how to get 25% more productivity out of your employees in the next 90 days in 5 simple steps, simply by flooding the engine in your van. So if this is your first time on the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be alerted the minute new content comes out on this channel to help you in your IT and your tech business. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how this guy here, who's flooded the engine in his van, gave me the inspiration to give you 5 great tips today to help you get more out of your employees. Now let's get over to the content. Okay, so let's get stuck into the strategies now. The 5 things we need to do in the next 90 days. And I reckon if you implement these correctly, with the results I've seen from my clients previously, you will get about a 25% increase in output from your employees. So here we go. So number 1 is about reviewing your structure. Now what I mean by this is draw your organisation chart out. Draw out where you're sitting at the top as the business owner, and then draw your senior management team, your leadership team, then your managers, and then the guys who actually do all the work down below. Now the reason that we need to do this, we need to make sure that this is kind of in silos and we've got these people in swim lanes, is number 1 for accountability. And number 2 is to make sure people have got clarity in what their roles that they're actually doing. So many times I see people employ people and then they bring them all in and then they basically sit there and they might be doing a role, say for example in sales. But because they've shown quite a good flair in admin or doing the accounts, they also do a bit of the admin and accounts. And then they go across and then they do a little bit of packing, or they do a little bit of like the operational side of the business. Now the problem with this is that what this actually does is it makes it really hard to replace that individual. If they're going across different swim lanes, if they're going across the different accountability lines, who do they report to? What do they actually do? How do you want them to perform in their role? And do you know what good looks like in terms of the expectation exchange? What I mean by expectation exchange is I'm going to give you some money, you're going to do some work for me. And for that work, I want you to provide value in my organisation. That's going to generate revenue. But if people aren't clear on what they're going to do, you're just going to absolutely get a bit of a mess in terms of the communication line. Once you've drawn your structure out, what you need to do now is you need to draw down the accountability lines. You need to make people on your senior leadership team responsible and accountable for everything that happens in sales, operation, finance, admin, whatever it might be. Once you've got those objectives clear, once you've got those absolutely crystal clear, then any single problem that you get while you're in overwhelm as the business owner, you just drop it down to the individual person. Without setting accountability, you are going to have awful trouble in trying to make sure that people are doing what they're doing, and you're also going to not be able to measure the impact and the performance of your business. Okay, number 2 is assign KPIs. So in the first tip, we've assigned accountability. Now what we need to do is we need to assign the KPIs, the key performance indicators. What this means is, take the head of finance or the director of finance. What is it you want them to do? What reports do you want? What productivity figures do you want? What level of service and quality do you need those reports? When do they need to be delivered by? Give people in each individual roles their key performance indicators. This is the expectation exchange. This is the reason for living. This is why they're there in your organisation. Sales. If you want to increase your sales, and we'll keep this really, really simple, by kind of 1 client a month, for example, how many do you need in your pipeline to give you 1 client a month? How many are you going to convert? How many of those converted sales will actually come on board and become an actual client? And you need to know these numbers. More importantly, your sales staff need to know these numbers. They need to know if they're doing marketing, how many impressions do they need? How many adverts do you need to put out there to reach so many people, to go all the way back to that one person? So each individual team member, each individual senior leadership team needs to have their own KPIs. Once they've got those KPIs, you basically build them all up, and that becomes your monthly dashboard. The monthly dashboard is one piece of paper where you can go and sit on a beach somewhere in the Bahamas or wherever takes your fancy, and you can get sent this report and you know the exact health of your business. Leads coming in, finance, operations, deliverable, customer service, qualities, all of those good things all go on this one page. Once we've got that in the dashboard, you can then do weekly reporting around that. So it's really important. Set your key performance indicators, set up your expectation exchange, what you want those head people to deliver, and that will flow down into your dashboard. Okay, step 3 is about having your own appraisal system. Some people call it an IPR, individual performance review. I call it an appraisal system. So the most important thing about having an appraisal system is that this is the detail of each individual person in their role, how they're now. You're going to start to see this building up. As this goes back up to the KPIs, it goes back to the accountability and to your structure. This is now the detail on what you want that person to do. I want you to deliver me a report on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock that has the information from last week's sales or marketing or operations or whatever it might be. You want all of that information to make sure that you've got that in that report on that date, and that will be an objectives. You need to make sure that these are SMART targets. Now, what does SMART mean? SMART means that every single objective needs to be specific. You need to know exactly what it is. It needs to be measurable. You need to be able to measure, make sure that you know exactly when it's coming in and what quality it is going to be. It needs to be attainable, achievable. So you actually got to be able to do it. Otherwise, there's no point setting SMART or setting targets if they're not achievable. The thing about objective setting and targets is they need to be agreed as well. Then it needs to be realistic. So don't ask them to go and deliver all your sales in 1 month. It's got to be done over a period of time and understand what that looks like. And it needs to be time bound. The last one, T, is for time bound, to make sure that it's a time bound and you know exactly when it's coming in. So set your appraisal system up, and that will be like a yearly review, a half yearly check review, and then monthly one-to-ones. So it's really important to have monthly one-to-ones. And the reason for this is to make sure that you're engaging your staff, making sure you're hearing what's going on, making sure you're supporting, and you're providing help and training if they need it. If you don't have monthly one-to-ones, then the problem you're going to get is that they're not going to value it, they're not going to see the benefit, and they think it's just going to be a yearly thing that they're just going to focus on for 2 months in the year. You must keep going every single month with those one-to-ones. So step 4 is about having a communications plan. Now, what I mean by having a communications plan is, when are you actually going to plan and regularly and consistently talk to your staff and help them to understand exactly when information is going to come out of the business. So monthly meetings, monthly reports. When are you going to be talking to them a little bit off key? You know, you might do a learning lunch, or you might do an engagement session. How are they going to feed back to you? And make sure you've got a system and a process so that when people feed back to the business, you use the information. And when the business wants to feed back to the individuals and to the workers and to the managers and the supervisors, that you've got a channel to do that. So it's regular, consistent communication is ultimately really key point as well. And step 5 is about reviewing the individual's performance. I talked about one-to-ones and having that regular catch up a little bit earlier on in the appraisal system, but it's very important that you sit down on a one-to-one basis with your leadership team every single month. Review their performance, review the team's performance, and review effectively the whole business performance, so people can understand how they can help different parts of the business, how they can help themselves, how you need to help your leadership team. If you're not there consistently supporting, communicating to your leadership team, how on earth are they going to know what's going on in your head when it's all fuzzy and you've got all the world on your shoulders and all of these types of things? And finally, when you're regularly reviewing with your staff, make sure you understand if you've got any training or development needs. Is there any cross-departmental, awareness that they might need to know if they're passing their work in between other departments? That's always a really key one to help them work out what they need to do going across the departments. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope that gave you something really to think about, the things, the do's and the don'ts in your business. And if you just implement those 5 key things, I almost guarantee that your productivity of your staff will go up by 25% in those 90 days time. And what I want to hear right now is I want you to comment below about some of the most effective things that you're doing in your organisation, the strategies that you're using to help you get more out of your employees. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be alerted the minute that we release brand new videos and podcasts on this channel. That's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to catch up with you on the next one. Look after yourself.